everyone, welcome back to the Earthbound Survival Guide. I know, it's been a long time. The podcast for all disciplines, paths, players, and game masters. With your questers, Josh and Dan. We've circled up maybe once or twice. I'm Dan.
And I guess I'm Josh.
And on today's podcast, we will be discussing all things quizzical, umpty billion, because we're kind of way behind on our mailbag. Sorry about that. This is all my fault. If you have any questions for us about anything, please contact us at edsgpodcast@gmail.com. Go for it, Josh.
It is not all your fault. It is Pro Tools' fault.
It is Pro Tools' fault, and I have written them a nasty letter, just so everybody knows. To tell the tale very quickly, everything was working. Everything has been working for the last year. Then they re-upped my subscription, and all of a sudden, it won't find my external audio driver, which I have been using this entire time for every episode of this podcast, and their cop-out after literally 8 back-and-forth emails that are infuriating and stupid said, oh, by the way, your external driver doesn't work with Windows 11. Well, it did until April. All the way through April. So what happened in May? You re-upped me. I'm not sure what my subscription has to do with the external audio driver. But anyway.
Sneaky background update.
Oh, just on my last nerve.
Would be my guess.
Yeah. I have a workaround in place at the moment. We're using a different. I am using a different microphone, and I am circumventing their problem. So, please let me know how I sound, if it's the same or not.
Well, you sound lovely to me, Dan.
If not angry like the Hulk who can speak words. Anyway, we have bookended emails today from Felix. So we're going to start with Felix and end with Felix because he sent two way back when. Well, at least, yeah, way back when. So, hi. I have just listened to your EDSG podcast number 20, the one about humans and other things. Now I'm wondering if every human has the benefit of versatility, or do only human adepts benefit from being human, and all the 90% non-adept humans have bad luck being the only name givers without any racial benefit. Attribute bonuses, special sights, strong back, tail attack, and so on seem to be racial bonuses every member, adept or not, of those races benefit from. Sure, it's not important for any player character, and therefore it may seem a negligible issue. But as a game master in the making, I think it would have a huge impact in the world building and the other races' opinions about humans. By the way, is there a word describing a non-adept member of a race? Looking forward to your answers. Greetings from Germany, Felix.
There is not really an official term for it. Non-adept or mundane are the terms that I've seen most commonly used to address that easier last bit first. Mundane or non-adept, I think, works just fine. To address the bulk of the question, this is a difficult, well, not difficult, this is something that is, by its nature, something that does not really matter, as Felix says, because it's something that really only comes into play for player characters or maybe, NPCs that happen to be humans. But from a game mechanical standpoint, there isn't really anything that says, oh, mundane, non-adept humans have versatility as well. That said, within the in-setting lore, within the documents and information that is presented within the setting of Barsave, when it's talking about humans, it often talks about how humans tend to adapt and fit into whatever role is needed within the particular culture or settlement or society that they happen to be a part of. So in a community that is more, say, boreal, that is more forested, where you might have, say, an elf and human population, you might see that the humans would be taking on different roles within that society than if it was a community that was a mix of orcs and humans, because the humans would have a different role within that standpoint. So within the setting, from a purely narrative world-building standpoint, all humans have versatility because they tend to adapt to whatever role is needed for them to fill within the particular culture or community that they're a part of. There's not really any kind of strong game mechanical reinforcement of that for most people. And because the rules, for the most part, are focused on player characters who are assumed to be adepts, there's not really a need, I don't feel, to develop a rule, to develop game mechanics to reinforce something that really isn't going to be coming into play over much when it comes to human characters. Off the top of my head, if you really asked me to, I might have it be that perhaps, and again, this is like not really, I don't think worth exploring because NPCs don't earn legend points. A game master does not advance their characters, right? As a game master, really, you just kind of give the characters what they need to have within the framework of what's allowed for them. And so if you've got a non-adept character, you are going to give them the skills that are kind of appropriate for their background and role within the story.
Yeah.
But if you were to say, I've got a character who wants to play a human and wants to be a non-adept human questor.
Mm-hmm.
For an experienced group that kind of wants to explore that as a possibility, okay. There are some things you need to watch out for, but whatever. I don't know that I would have it do versatility the same way that adepts do, where they are able to learn magical talents from other disciplines. But what I might do is approach the skill system, like maybe the cost for learning skills, to tweak that slightly to make it a little bit easier for a human non-adept to learn skills. Again, this would only matter if you've got a character where you are going to be earning and spending legend points to advance it. And my initial gut is buy it as if it is one rank lower than the rank you're actually getting, or something along those lines, where it's not necessarily like a huge advantage, but when you compare it to like an equivalently skilled or equivalently legend-pointed non-adept of another name-giver race,
yeah,
the human would have slightly higher skills than the others. That's right off the top of my head, and again, I don't know that I would ever be that simulationist about, I need to model and build and manage my NPC library the way that the player characters need to handle their own. No. I don't even track how many legend points like adept opponents would have in a game that I'm playing. I would just make them, I need a 6th circle Nethermancer as an opponent. I'm just going to make a 6th circle Nethermancer character with appropriate talents at the right ranks, and then kind of tweak some things and add some skills to make them interesting or whatever.
Yeah.
Game masters don't have a legend point budget that they need to build their characters off of.
Yeah.
Legend points are a player character advancement tool because that is something that you kind of need with this type of game.
Fair. No worries. And do we have an in-game word for all the normies?
Well, yeah, I said that at the beginning.
Sorry.
Mundane or non-adept is the term that I've seen most frequently used. But I don't think there's anything that's like within setting that's official in that regard.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, no, mundane and non-adept I've used so often, it was part of like a comma in your sentence. I just blew right past it. So, again, that's on me. Nobody else. Second one, we've got from Kevin. Hello, Dan and Josh. I just wanted to shoot a quick email letting you two know that I've been enjoying your company over the last month. Life changes shifted me to spending a lot of time commuting in the car for my new employment, and I've made the two of you my companions in the car for hours daily. It's been a delight. I'm already up past episode 50 and have a simple goal to be current when it happens. When what happens? Okay.
To be current when he's current.
Yes, okay. I didn't expect listening to the podcast of an old friend to turn into the major reason I look forward to working every day, but here we are. I've been Game Mastering Earthdawn for 30 plus years and have been focusing on live plays, which Josh watched a bit of back in the day. Our newest live campaign is approaching year 2, and I'm proud it's lasted as long as it has. As you know, campaigns can be fickle at times. As of this email, and he sent this a while ago, I'm starting into the neat immersive readings of the legends around episode 52. This means I'm just over 200 episodes behind. I do have questions, but as I still have so many episodes to watch, emails to listen to, and answers to yet hear, I'll keep them to myself for now. I'll just write them down as I listen and see which ones remain unanswered when I catch up. So without questions, I think it's more productive to simply make this the first update on the journey. I can introduce myself as a novice game name giver walking the path of the Pod Watcher discipline. But when I reach the episode 100 milestone, I'll reach out again as we celebrate my induction to the journeyman steps of my journey within the discipline. Hopefully, I'll initiate and train even more into the discipline by then. I look forward to hearing the reply to this email in a few months' time. Thanks for being the voices inside my head, as Dane may as well be the Ghostmaster Troubadour who brings laughs aplenty, and Josh will forever be the astral horror who corrupts people kindly, leaving them all guessing what his true motives are at the end of it all. The Novice Podwatcher journeys onward, Kevin. He has some off-air stuff that's fun to read as well, but that's off-air stuff. That's for Josh and me. You don't get that. That's behind the veil. No.
Kevin is... I don't even remember at this point exactly how I encountered Kevin. He's purely an online acquaintance / friend. He might have reached out to me back in the early days of 4th edition. He had a Twitch channel. Probably still has a Twitch channel that he did a lot of his stuff through. Jack LaFear is the handle that he goes by, and that's how I kind of know him better. But yeah, he also, on his channel, did a reading of Prophecy, the novel. He did that on his Twitch channel over the course of a few weeks. Yeah. He's a nice guy. I haven't actually chatted with him in a while. It was nice to see that email come in that, since now that he was working outside of his home,
yes,
we're keeping him company, and happy to have him along, and I look forward to further updates as he gets caught up and then maybe sends us an email with a dozen questions that we hadn't addressed before.
Well, I'm glad you pronounced it Jack LaFear, because I looked at it, I'm like, Jack Lifer? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, no, teasing. Anyway.
I've always had it as Jack LaFear, so...
Which is good, because I'm probably misreading it.
Well, it's because it's F-E-A-R at the end, isn't it? I don't have the email up in front of me.
No, you are correct. I read it too fast, because I read ahead for the prep of the show. Anyway, on to Aaron. He sent us an email as well back in May. Again, sorry, folks, we're way behind. Good evening, Josh and Dan. He knows we record in the evening. He's spying on us too much. Sorry. Just about caught back up with the podcast recently. Great work, as always. Wait till you hear about the last 2 months. Following the last email I sent, which was a good while ago now, my group has progressed to 5th and 6th Circle, and they are currently helping the Overland Trading Company map out a new trade route through the mountains in order to reduce travel time between Thrall and Haven. They have come across a care in the mountains that was breached but needs clearing out so that it poses no threat to any caravans, and also to be used as a halfway house where the OTC can set up a home base. I've had the team enter once, and by some luck, survive a surprise encounter with a bone shambler when an outrageous 68 points of damage from the weaponsmith took it from around half health to destroyed. Good thing, since it had nearly finished off the Beastmaster the turn before. The plan is to have a crystal entity disguised as a large ornate light quartz be pulling the strings. My issue is I am struggling with balancing combat right now. I think the group will gang up and destroy the horror in good time if they figure it out quickly. So I want to throw some minions in to cause some chaos and split their focus. Since the Bone Shambler was a turn away from a kill shot on one of the players, I don't think throwing another one of those at them would be smart, since they will likely not be in a good state to take on a horror following this. So any suggestions on what nasties I can have the crystal entity conjure up that will cause some disruption? Ghouls and cadaver men are out of the question. Long story, but it's been taken off the table for this scenario. I am currently taking a lot of time to collate all of the PDFs so that information is in one database. It is something that I have wanted to do for a while, and while not even close to being finished, I have managed to use it during the last session to good effect when trying to locate specific rules. I wondered, is this something that FASA already has in their library? As an idea, it is something that could be produced and released as a subscription-type product?
Yes! People who are on the Discord know that we have been talking about the FASA Games Wiki for years. The idea being that it is going to have a nominal monthly fee, but it will give you access to... There's stuff that will be in front of the paywall, some basic stuff, but for the most part, if you're paying the subscription fee, you get access to everything.
Yeah.
That's in there, including stuff that was cut or that didn't make it into books, like the familiar rules that were developed to originally be part of Deeper Secrets, but never, because that book is large enough as it is.
It's a tome.
Yeah. So, like, those are going to be in there, but also, a whole lot of setting material and rules, and obviously as a wiki, it'll have cross-references and links, and if you pull up the discipline Swordmaster, it'll have all of the talents, and those will all be links, and you can click on the talent name, it'll take you to the page for the talent, and on that page for the talent, it will have a list of it theoretically will have a list of all the knacks that are connected to that talent that you could then click in. Like, it's just taking a lot longer to put together than it's taking a lot of time to put together because there's a lot of material involved.
Mm-hmm.
But also just getting the back end set up correctly to be able to handle the subscription payments.
Fair.
Is no easy task. And I'm not involved in that aspect of anything in any way, so I can't really address that. But yes, I have seen some early versions of it, and hopefully it will do what people want it to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be nice to have some folks available, like to have some folks that are willing to make that monthly contribution to get a little bit better cash flow in to help continue to support us and what we do.
Yes.
Is that the end of his email? Or
no, not yet. So just to help sell this a little bit, where do they find that wiki, Josh?
I don't know.
Okay.
If you go to fasagames.com, it's not available yet.
Yeah. Fair.
But I'm pretty sure that when it becomes available... Oh, and it also will not be just Earthdawn. It will also have 1879 stuff in there. It will also have like Aether. Like, the idea is that it's going to have all the FASA stuff, but each setting, each game line will have its own. Like, you could pay. These are completely made up numbers. Do not quote me or be upset if the numbers end up being different from this. But let's say, for example, it's $3.99 a month gets you just Earthdawn, but if you do $7.99 a month, that gets you everything, or something, something along those lines. Where there is also some talk of potentially having the possibility of like a character builder tracker kind of thing. I have no idea how close how involved that's going to be.
Fair.
But like that would then be connected and integrated to the wiki in some capacity. Again, that's all like tech stuff that
some software developer has to...
I'm a user of, but I am not in any way any kind of developer to have any idea of how that all would potentially work. So
fair. He would be curious because he buys both the physical and PDF books, and for him the most difficult part of navigating the game as a GM is knowing what rule, item, talent, etc. is in which book. So a wiki like this will
Yeah.
help him out. He's creating his own at his table. Finally, he is wondering if we should be expecting a new Kickstarter soon. I am keen to pick up some of the products I missed in the last one, and due to postage to the UK, it makes it more sense to do it in one lump purchase. Great work as always. Appreciate the podcast. Long may it continue. Aaron.
Yes. So there is going to be another Kickstarter that is not going to... So there are two things that are going on with that. One, we're not going to launch a new Earth Dawn Kickstarter until we have all of the product from the most recent one in hand and on its way out the door to people who backed that one. That's the one with the novels and a couple of other things that were in there. Yeah. Those books are being produced. They will show up at some point this year. Our meetings have changed around, and I'm not sure. I haven't actually been able to go to a meeting in a few weeks, so I don't know what our production timeline is in terms of when books are going to be done and put on a boat and things like that. But I did the layout, so like the layout for all of the books was done. I've seen the proofs. I just don't know what the timeline is for the physical product to arrive and then go out the door. But we are not going to launch a new Kickstarter for Earth Dawn until the product that we owe people is at least on its way out the door.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we want to have product virtually ready to go. We've got a couple of books in development. The next one, this was talked about earlier this year at FreedoniaCon. Mm-hmm. I think the next book in the slate is... I can't even remember the title that got settled on for it at this point, but it's the next event book along the lines of Empty Thrones, that it's going to have a handful of sort of mini campaign arcs that are all kind of along a theme. This one mainly playing with the Serpent River to give an opportunity to update some of the information on the Urupa and maybe shake up some of the status quo in with those. I know that there's plans, development is underway for a sort of updated Secret Societies book.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And then, of course, Urupa is coming along, not as quickly as I would like, but I had a really productive meeting with Jessica, the primary writer, last week, this past week as we record this. Well, let me put it this way. We're working our way through what is going to be, I'm sure, the biggest chapter of the book, which is the tour of the city.
Yeah.
And we've got solid material in place for now the Visitors' Quarter, Ironclaw, which is the Orc sector, Nehem, which is the Obsidian sector, Otosk, which is the Troll sector, and she's currently working on Beharge, which is the Dwarf sector. So then we also have Leandril and Zenise, which are the elves and human combined. Mm-hmm. The Peshestis sector, which is the Tiskrang, and then like central Urupa as well. So we've got, and I don't even, it's big. I don't know how many pages we're at in terms of that. And then we've got the history chapter, which is 97% done. I've got to finish a little section of it that I've been putting off. Then we've got the politics chapter, kind of talking about the various people in power and how they come to be in power within the city, as well as their relationships with other powers. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a chapter because of Urupa's status as a city devoted to the arts and whatnot, with the Allcroft Theater and such being a major factor of it. There's going to be a chapter talking about the arts, like performing arts, and the various shenanigans that are getting up to there, drawing on my love of theater and theatrical history.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a little bit talking about some of the outlying areas around the shores of the Aras Sea. Not a whole lot of detail, but just some stuff talking about probably the Leviathans of the Aras Sea. There might be a little bit on them. Talking about Aras Nehem itself, where the Nehem life rock was. So it's coming along. That will certainly be kickstarted when it's done, but it's probably not going to be included in the next one because there's still too much work left to be done on it. And I think our next Kickstarter is going to be done much sooner than that book will be ready.
Fair. I think you sold it hard enough.
As Andy Watson, our project manager, was fond of saying, Josh, you have been talking about wanting to do this book for years. And now that I finally have a chance to talk about it and having somebody to work with and bounce ideas off of, I really like the voice that we have for the tour chapter.
Yeah.
The tour, the geography and going through the various districts is being presented essentially as a walking tour given by one of the functionaries from the Theron embassy in the city. And so you get his very particular voice and point of view on the different subcultures within the city. It's really cool. I kind of like it, especially the way that he talks about the orcs. To get back to his original question, or the first question in there, where he was talking about...
any other nasties that can be thrown at the party after they discover the crystal entity, but no ghouls, no cadaver men. I'm assuming undead is not on the table.
Yeah, so... One thing that I did, this story kind of reminded me a little bit of one thing that I did myself. If folks have listened to the actual play that is included in our feed here that was put in there a couple of years back, that Earth Dawn game that I ran for the folks at the Crit Show.
Yes.
The horror in that adventure is a reskinned crystal entity.
Yeah.
I basically used the crystal entity stats, maybe tweaked them slightly, but rather than it being crystal/earth element related, I made it plant. I made it like wood based. And then I used from the Travar book the pumpkin vine horror things. They were skinned as separate creatures and like ran them in the combat as separate creatures, but they were really like tendrils of the plant horror thing itself. That's kind of what I did with that. One thing that you might think about if you've got a crystal entity that is masquerading as a light quartz.
The pumpkin patch horror.
Yes, the pumpkin patch. Yeah, the pumpkin patch horror. If you've got a crystal entity that is masquerading as a light quartz, one, it would have to be fairly sizable, so it's probably a larger one that is likely to not be easily accessible from the areas that most folks are going to be going on. Like, it's more apt to be up on the ceiling of whatever cave or room that it is in, so it's not something that is necessarily going to be easy where the weaponsmith is going to be able to just, beat on it with a sword. So that's one possibility. What I might look at if I were looking to create interesting minions would be to look at basically making like corrupted earth spirits and have those be kind of like crystalline or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Looking at I don't know what strength rating off the top of my head. It would depend on the makeup of the group and whatnot.
Yeah.
But having like corrupted earth spirits that are perhaps like maybe the weaker ones always manifest, use the stat block for a spirit but not give it the ability to shift into astral space or something like that.
Yeah.
Have that be the kind of thing that you're looking for. Just kind of thematically, that would be an interesting thing to connect to that horror.
Fair.
That's one possibility.
Yeah, he said his group was a fifth to sixth circle.
Yeah. if you get a bunch of those and you kind of build them as like strength rating 2 or 3, depending on what powers you give them, you can probably throw a bunch of them at a 5th or 6th circle group to make it difficult for them, or maybe even have like different power levels of them. Like you've got kind of the most basic ones are like strength rating 2 or 3, then maybe have more advanced ones that are like closer to the group's own. Off the top of my head, without like going through the book and saying, oh, this would be ideal, or take this and just reskin it this way, that's where my brain immediately goes, is corrupted earth spirits of some sort. Because one, you're underground in a care, earth spirits would already kind of be attracted to that sort of thing. And then you've got a crystal entity, the crystal, the connection with the earth, just feels like if you want to go for some kind of thematic resonance, then that may be. And again, if you put the crystal entity itself in an area that is not impossible to get to, but makes it difficult for the group to easily bring their full power to bear directly on it, I think that will also make it more challenging for them, where it's not a case of, oh, we've just figured it out and we're just going to go and bash on this thing with our maces.
Yeah, pretty much. So I was like, the masks, I think, is an underused chapter for a lot of people.
You could say, oh, this is a creature, there are like the elemental masks in there. I think you could have like use earth-aligned masks or something to reskin creatures as well. That's another way that you could do it. Again, if you wanted to have that kind of thematic resonance, which I often like to build in.
Yeah.
To my games, especially if I'm doing something like that.
Totally. I'm all there for that. So, by all means, let us know how that turns out. What you did use, we want to hear what you used and how it turned out. So, lastly, we have our other bookend from Felix. So, hi, what a nice podcast. I really like your work there. In the early minutes of episode 68, he's going way back now, 211 episodes.
Well, his first one was talking about episode 20-something, so he's
yes.
He's further along.
He's catching up quicker than we can put him out. This is my fault. In the early minutes of episode 68, you were asking about an example of bringing the virtues of Garlen to a harmful degree as a quester.
Oh, yeah.
How about the troll moots of the Twilight Peaks? I am vaguely remembering a piece of background story where these name-givers actively denied Garland the patronage of their people because it would be the easy way, and they chose Thistonius, Floranuus, and Jaspri instead because they promised challenge. So Garland in a harmful extreme. 2 examples. Caring about other name-givers in an excess that makes them dependent upon you and your charity, in a kind of matter that comes close to imprisonment. Personally, as Dan, I can think of the novel or the movie Misery from Stephen King. That's I can go along with that. Secondly, by healing the sickly over and over with magic and the mystical power of passion, air quotes, the natural survivability of the name givers could be reduced because the survival of the fittest is now hindered if the laws of Darwin are applicable to a fantasy world.
I will avoid the long rant there.
We got time. It's the last email.
Mainly talking about, it is often talked about as survival of the fittest, which is often interpreted to mean, the most powerful, vicious,
cunning, white.
Yeah, like whatever. Yeah. Looking at it purely like sort of from an aggressive predator contest. And that's actually not what Darwinistic evolution even originally posited. It is that the species that are best adapted to survive in that particular environment, the ones that are most fit, it's most fit, not fittest.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of like quibbling, but
most adaptive.
The fact that, take for example, because of the eradication of wolves in North America and the rampant loss of wild areas to human urban expansion,
Yeah.
and the encroachment of human communities, suburbs, and whatnot into wild areas, coyotes are adapting to live, are, becoming like more fit and adapted to live in these new environments that we are creating, to the point that we have, like, that we are starting, I guess, apparently starting to see more examples of crossbreeds of coyotes and domesticated dogs, that those are being like adapted. I'm vaguely remembering some stuff that has been talked about, so please don't like come at me because I might have the details wrong. But like, that's the kind of thing. If you were to take a wolf and a coyote, one would think, oh, survival of the fittest, like the stereotypical chance that, well, the wolf is more fit than the coyote because the wolf is bigger and stronger and whatever. But no, the coyote is the one that is more adapted, the one that is better suited, the one that is more fit to live in the environment that exists.
Yeah.
Nothing against wolves. Wolves are awesome.
Wolves are fantastic.
But that's the kind of thing that's going on. Like, again, like raccoons and skunks and pigeons and rats, all of these things are adapt to the environments in which they live, and the reason that they thrive is because the traits that they have make them well suited to survive in that environment.
Mm-hmm. So
that is kind of completely off target from the whole Garland thing. But again, I don't know if we brought this because it was 4 years ago or whatever.
Fair.
Whether we would have potentially brought up like a Munchausen by proxy, perhaps.
Oh, I think we did. It rings a bell, yeah.
Where you've got
the person who inflicts the harm, therefore, is the person who heals you, who therefore inflicts more harm, and therefore heals you. So
the image that came to mind, and this is a deep cut, kudos to anybody who gets this or knows what I am referring to, the old Peter Jackson film, alternatively known as either Dead Alive or Brain Dead, depending on which version of it it is.
Fair.
It is Peter Jackson, as in Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson. This is one of his earlier movies that is basically a zombie flick.
Yeah.
Where the mother of the main protagonist has a very like overbearing infantilization of her son, even though he is an adult, to the point where like she gets infected and turns into this big like spider monkey looking zombie thing, and like her belly opens up and like swallows him in this kind of like reverse pregnancy thing. Anyway.
Trippy. That's a trip.
Yeah. The movie is... it's fantastic. Honestly, it's like very like low budget schlocky, but it shows a lot of the energy and creativity that young Peter Jackson had. Including the kung fu priest who like tries beating up the zombies that are coming out of the graves in the churchyard, tries to beat them up with martial arts, including the fantastic line, which I will not deliver in the Kiwi accent that he has, "I kick ass for the Lord."
I kick ass for the Lord.
It's phenomenal. Anyway.
The other Munchausen by proxy that maybe we did bring up at the time, because it was fresh in my mind, was if you watch the M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Sixth Sense, they finally they track down this girl who ended up dying because she was being poisoned by her mother.
Okay, yeah.
In her own bedroom. So that's when they figure out, that you can see dead people as helpful if you can help, put their soul to rest because they were...
Yeah, any long-running medical drama will have had at least one, if not multiple instances of Munchausen by proxy.
There's one on NCIS, I know that.
Yeah. It is a not surprising trope in any kind of medical mystery or medical drama or procedural show, because it may look like things are appearing one way and then it turns out, here's the twist, is that they were sick because the mom was like lacing their breakfast with arsenic every day.
Yes. Stuff like that.
Or like flip side where like, they'll show up at the ER and the ER would be like, oh, well, maybe this is a case of Munchausen by proxy. I'm sure House had an episode or two where they were originally looking at that as a possibility. And it turned out to be something, no, it's actually this really weird, rare thing that happened because the dad like took a business trip and who knows what. Anyway.
It's a spider bite.
To get back to the email, those are both like pretty good examples.
Yes.
Anytime that things, the Nicole Kidman film, The Others.
Oh yeah, fair.
Setting aside all of the supernatural stuff, the mom with the kids that are supposedly allergic, like deathly allergic to sunlight, and has all of these really strict rules in place about you only open one door at a time and you need to, like that kind of controlling, protective, overbearing situation. Yeah, that's...
Or,
It is more difficult with some passions than with others because the very thing that they are a passion of tends to be viewed and tends to be a fairly highly valued virtue of societies in general. But yeah, those are good examples.
Yeah, no. Hearth and healing are it's the dichotomy of the character of the passion you need to bring into play. So yeah, I dig both of those. Those are good examples. Anything further that comes to mind?
No.
Since we answered our 4 emails have been sitting there for I can't tell you how many weeks. Again, folks, sorry. Hope I sound okay. We have a workaround. I'll see how it sounds like when I edit the whole thing back.
And if you have questions,
yes,
we can provide answers. Send those emails to us, edsgpodcast@gmail.com. We have tapped out our mailbag for now.
Mm-hmm.
We have plans for, like, as I said in my interstitial message that I put up a couple of weeks back.
Yep.
Our production schedule this summer may be a little bit irregular, not only because of the tech issues that we were running into, but also I'm in a production of Julius Caesar. We just started our 3rd week of rehearsals and it goes up at the tail end of July. So we've got about 5 weeks left or so.
Yeah, 5 more. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a good show. If you happen to be in Central Maine in mid-July,
stop in.
It's outdoor Shakespeare. We're going to be putting it on 2 weekends in Brewer, Maine, and then a 3rd weekend at in Prospect, technically, but in Bucksport down at Fort Knox State Park.
There you go.
Down there, which is really cool. It's a 19th century fort that never saw battle, but is really, really cool. And it's got like a picnic area, and we basically use like the inside of the fort, like the interior part, as the play area with the fort walls as kind of the backdrop.
Good use of space.
Already, there's a lot of good energy in this show, and so it's going to be a really good production. I'm excited for it.
We've got the next 2 episodes. I've got them researched and ready to go. It's just a matter of we had technical problems getting them recorded. So There you are. But until next time, folks, send us your questions. We need more. For your legend.
Good night, everybody.